Fellow Southern Cameroonians, fellow Ambazonians, brave warriors of our liberation movement, accept greetings from me and accept hearty greetings from the LCLC. My dear people, I come today with this very special and very important communication, and I want to really draw your attention to the fact that we are going to speak a bit longer today. Our conversation today is going to be slightly long on basis of the three important issues that we shall be looking at. The first thing I'm going to bring to you here is a confidential letter being a report written by Mr. Fai Yengo Francis, who is a national coordinator of Mr. Paul Biya's Commission on Disarmament, Demobilization and Reintegration. It is a secret memo he wrote to the Prime Minister's office talking about a meeting, an audience he had with the ambassador of the United States of America to Yaoundé, His Excellency Peter Ballerin. That was on the 26th of March, 2019, and that meeting took place from 4:30 to 6:15 p.m. Central African Time. I'll bring you information about that. We'll not be reading the entire report. I'll bring you just a salient point so you continue to know exactly why Yaoundé is doing what it is doing. And then I shall talk here about the plans by La République du Cameroun through some of those, our chartered slaves, those who call themselves our elites, who want to demonstrate in Yaoundé, in the streets of Yaoundé, and, end their march on the U.S. Embassy to achieve a number of things that I will present to everyone here, so we know exactly what to do. By the way, the SCLC is going to be discussing issues relating to that this Friday. And then finally, we will look at the sacred activities of the Tumi-led Anglophone General Conference, because they are planning undercurrents and there's collusion between the AGC and the genocide enabler-in-chief John Gute to see how to play a fast one on our people and bring in some kind of stupid pseudo so-called dialogue, which will not represent the negotiations that we are talking about and which will not address the fundamental issues, particularly the issue of a peaceful separation between the two Cameroons. So those are the three issues that we're going to be discussing in this communication. But before I go on, I want to first of all make this very fervent and important appeal to the people of the Southern Cameroons. In the past few days, or let me call it weeks, I have drawn the attention of each and everyone to the importance of making sure that we have the financial resources necessary to prosecute this liberation struggle, this liberation movement at this specific point in time. I continue to say this. I continue to shout over it. Though some people push back to say we are putting our money only in our local government coffers, I want to draw your attention to the absolute importance of making sure that the joint treasury account created by all SCLC members has money enough to enable us get the policies that were put in place off the ground. Right now, there's already a lot that we're doing in the background, and I told you we will not be making publicity of the things that we're doing, except some that will be relating to humanitarian activities. I want to urge you right now, if you have not yet contributed, do so. We need this money now more than ever before. Some of you call and complain and say, eject this member or the other from the SCLC before we bring in our money. You put us in a situation that I want to call a catch-22. La République du Cameroun is telling the world, or had been telling the world, that they cannot negotiate with us because they don't know who to talk to, because they consider that we are divided. Today, we have formed this bloc to solve that problem, to tell La République du Cameroun, you can no longer continue to make such false claims. And now, when you come in and put as a precondition that we should scatter again before you provide us the means to operate, I rather fear that you are coming from the position of someone who is totally manipulated by the enemy to seek exactly what they want, division in our ranks. My dear people, I want you to know that we have decided we will work together. On the contrary, wherever there are problems, like there are problems in some of the movements, organizations, or groups in our ranks, we will do everything, and we're already doing that, to try and see how we resolve those problems and have our members remain united and watertight in their operations. We shall not fall in the trap of rather expelling people where we are supposed to be bringing people together to work with us. The concerns that you have raised are being handled in several other ways, and trust me, you will definitely get the result of all the work that is being done to address the concerns, specifically those of financial impropriety, those of embezzlement and the likes. So that said, for those of you who haven't contributed, who haven't got the messages, who haven't known what to do, call the telephone number 301-898-6324. 301-898-6324. If you are calling out of the United States, add a +1 before. That means you will dial +1 301-898-6324. For those in the United States who want to contribute directly using Cash App or Zelle, that is exactly the number you should use. The 301-898-6324 number. It will enable you to contribute through Zelle and through Cash App. For those of you out of the United States of America who want to contribute directly without calling, use the email address ambarelief2018@gmail.com. That is ambarelief2018@gmail.com. That is a PayPal account. So you can use that and be able to get your contributions across. And for you of our business community, the business community of the Southern Cameroons, whether you're in the United States of America, whether you're in Europe, whether you're in Asia, whether you're in Africa, whether you're on ground zero, ground one, or wherever, if you want to get in touch with us because we know you have specific concerns, call on the number +1 804 593 9078. +1 804 593 9078. And we will be right with you to assist you in making sure that we continue to hold the fort, that we continue to hold it strong in this liberation struggle. And now, on to the crux of the discussions in this particular matter. I have a mail before me here. This mail was sent to me from the national, they call it the national, this is the, yeah, let me read the name properly because I want to actually read what is on the mail. The National Commission on Disarmament, Demobilization, and Reintegration. That the characters are not very good. So this mail comes to me from that commission, and this mail is dated April 1, 2019, and it is written and signed by the national coordinator of the DDR, Mr. Fai Yengo Francis. This mail is about 6 pages long. I'm not going to read all of that. I'm just going to get to us. I'll read the cover letter because there is a cover letter, and then I'll take some few excerpts that make us see certain very important things and understand why La République is so hawkish against the United States of America and why they are planning to do some of the the dark things, the black things that they're trying to do right now. The mail reads, it's addressed to the Prime Minister, head of government, and I want to thank our sources at the DDR who have said they will not stand by and watch the aspirations of some 8 million people drowned just because of sinecure advantages that they are having there. That is why they've made it a point that they would generally keep us informed, because previously they had noted and informed me and some other persons in our liberation movement that the National Commission on Disarmament, Demobilization, and Reintegration has been playing mostly make-believe. They are trying now to pick family members, to pick friends, and to pick people who are jobless here and there, to take them to the various centers, and will make sure that they keep growing the numbers quickly, so that at the end of the day, they will try to deceive the world that a lot of the volunteers, I call it the volunteers, the self-defense volunteers, are dropping arms because they are understanding that they have been misled. I say this and laugh because that is absolutely a fallacy, and thank God the world knows. So that letter, the subject is audience with His Excellency Peter Henry Ballerin, Ambassador of the United States of America to Cameroon. I have the honor to transmit herewith, for your high attention, a summary report on an audience held with His Excellency the Ambassador of the United States of America to Cameroon. The meeting held in the office of the Ambassador on March 26, 2019. And like I said, to be more precise, I continue, he says that the meeting started at 4:30 p.m., prompt and ended at 6:25 p.m. That was at the office of the Ambassador of the United States of America in Yaoundé. He said, it is worthy of note that, 1. His Excellency the Ambassador promised to continue to discuss with us on the functioning of our NDDRC. Curiously, that's number 2, curiously, that His Excellency the Ambassador continues to say loud and clear that they don't have material proof of the dangerous actions of the Cameroonian activists in the United States of America. And 3, we humbly called on the United States government to stop the use of American territory by Cameroonian dissidents to organize and execute terrorist activities against our country, the Republic of Cameroon. It is highly recommended that they should be told this always and at every given opportunity. We are available to continue to meet and discuss with them all the time, and any development worthy of note shall be duly brought to your high attention. This is signed Fai Yengo Francis, the national coordinator. If you can look, you will see actually his name and the signature right there. So that this tells you that, it is not a joke that we are having here. That said, I would like to point out a few things, just a few other excerpts from that letter, because like I said, it's 5-page long, and I'm going to get in touch with one of our secretaries to try and, get this ready and printed. We'll circulate the entire report, not because there's anything so much for us to get out in there, but just to remind Mr. Fai Yengo Francis that we are sitting right at his office, and that all those manipulations they are planning out there, we are aware of, strictly aware of, and we will continue to expose all of this to the world. Now let's hear what he says about the U.S. position, because it's on page 3 and it says U.S. position. Ambassador Ballerin disclosed that the position of the American government about the crisis in the Northwest and Southwest was clear. No DDR assistance, because the government hasn't followed the classical DDR procedure, which is peace talks, ceasefire, and then disarmament. This is simple. The US government has refused to provide any form of support to the DDR because they say that was putting the cart before the horse. Because, they all understand that this is just make-believe. So it says there is only a possibility of DDR in the far north and not in the northwest and southwest, because the government needs to sit down with the separatists and talk peace before anything can happen from the US perspective. I think this is neat, clear, and understandable for anyone to take home. But he continues, the national coordinator welcomed American DDR assistance in the far north region, where we have the Boko Haram crisis. At the same time, he persistently pointed out that what is happening in the northwest and southwest regions is a consequence of what is being prepared abroad by Cameroonian diasporans. He requested that those remote controlling and sustaining the crisis from abroad should also be told by friends of Cameroon in strong, clear terms to stop destroying their own people and country. We have to look for the source of this problem and solve it, he concluded. He further said clearly that the head of state, His Excellency Paul Biya, did not create the DDR accidentally. If the ambassador feels that the United States can only intervene purely only in the extreme north, Cameroon has the means for its policy in the northwest and southwest regions. So you understand the US government is categorical and clear. As far as the National Commission on Disarmament, Demobilization and Reintegration for Cameroon is concerned, they think it is ripe and can only fully operate in the far north with respect to Boko Haram. And that is the only area where the United States government can give any form of assistance. But as far as the northwest and southwest is concerned, nope. And so he says, this is another header, lack of evidence. Reacting to Mr. Fai Yengo's point that the diaspora was largely responsible for remote controlling the crisis in the northwest and southwest regions, Ambassador Ballerin said there wasn't enough evidence from government against people suspected of sponsoring terrorism back home from abroad. For instance, they would want to see individuals who would testify to having received money from persons in the United States to carry out specific terrorist activities back home. The coordinator, in very clear terms, said it was out of reason and out of common sense for anyone to think that there is no evidence for the promotion of terrorism in Cameroon from the diaspora. Now you can see for yourself and understand for yourself why Mr. Fai Yengo Francis, Mr. Atanga Ponji, genocide enabler-in-chief John Gute, and Mr. Philemon Yang, and the rest of those gesticulators continue out there to try and see how they can use the likes of Jume Franklin, the likes of Ekema Patrick, to come up with the fake people they call Amber Boys, so they come and give fake testimonies that they are receiving money from people outside to carry out so-called terrorist activities. I think this is edifying enough. And this is what should make each and every one of us understand that La République du Cameroun has never been ready for any peace talks. La République du Cameroun is not ready to see this problem resolved the way it should be. La République du Cameroun is only determined to continue playing games and using people who claim to be our own very people. Disappoint us that what I say, that you need to make sure that you continue to fund this liberation movement is serious, is urgent, and it is even imperative. Let me continue. This is the last aspect I'm going to read on this report, and it says, Mr. Mark Titus Hoover, a foreign affairs officer and expert in conflict and stabilization operations, opined that in our DDR strategy, the Boko Haram crisis should be handled and treated differently from the crisis in the two English-speaking regions. The national coordinator assured him that we had already taken care of that aspect in our national DDR strategy. Why does this expert think the situation in the Southern Cameroon should be treated differently from that with Boko Haram in the far north? The reason is simple. What is happening in the far north is pure and clear terrorism. What is happening in the Southern Cameroons is a total liberation movement by people who are tired of recolonization, by people who are tired of colonial occupation, domination, and all forms of dehumanizing treatment, and who are seeking to assert their internationally recognized inalienable right to self-determination. That is why that distinction has always got to be clear. And thank God, the government of the United States of America knows this and generally seeks to make that absolutely clear. My dear people, we have to continue to do things clean because we are a clean people. We never declared war. We were never ready to fight war for one whole year and counting, because this began on the 8th of December 2016 when 3 people were shot dead in Bamenda, right up to the 30th of November 2017 when Mr. Paul Biya officially declared war on us, no Southern Cameroonian picked up arms. Each time our people went out, like on the 22nd of September 2017 and on the 1st of October 2017, we all urged them. There are recordings out there to prove this, to make sure they carry not even stones, not even rubber guns, not even the giant rubber guns that we saw at some point people started preparing. We said, don't take any of those. Hold only peace plans and go out there and carry out peaceful demonstrations to transmit a message to the rest of the world. But what were they met with? Absolute brutality. They were met with death. People even sat in their houses. They broke into their houses, pulled them out, and slaughtered them in cold blood. That is the same thing that is still continuing. I think the government of the United States, the governments of all other friendly countries across the world saw what happened in Wum, that's in Menchum County, just 3 days back, where the military, in complicity with a few misguided Fulani guys, killed someone and tried to tag that on the self-defense volunteers, and went ahead and burned their homes, and then did what? Unleashed the Fulani people onto the peaceful people of Wum. And the soldiers went out there and supervised the destruction of the homes and properties of the people. They were there. They saw it happen. They even interviewed these people. They even assisted them and gave them backup to destroy people's homes. And not a single Fulani was arrested in connection to those crimes. Yet we saw a hypocritical communique from the colonial governor of the Northern Zone, Adolphe Lele Lafrique, claiming that self-defense volunteers were responsible, until the truth has now been revealed, and it is on virtually every single tabloid, every single newspaper published within the confines of that country. This is the kind of system we are dealing with. Let me move now on to the second point. The second point now comes out from the first. Having received this message from Mr. Fai Yengo Francis, genocide enabler-in-chief John Gute gathered together other members of government, the other chief slaves that are with him, including Philemon Yang, and they met at the residence of Minister Are Mengot. Of course, this is not new because you already got Comrade Mark Barretta report on this extensively. So I wouldn't delve so much into that. And all they decided to agree there was, what would they do? They will now have to pull all their forces against the United States, as if it is the United States of America that plunged them in this problem in the first place. So they are planning to carry out demonstrations in Yaoundé that will end at the US Embassy premises in Yaoundé, with the view to achieving three things. Number one, they will try to blackmail the United States of America in order to hold their leadership role in ensuring international intervention to end the genocide that is ongoing in Southern Cameroons. That is the first thing they seek to achieve. Blackmail the United States of America before the rest of the international community. The second thing is to pressure the United States of America, hoping that they will ignore their own laws and hand over leaders of our liberation struggle to Yaoundé for persecution. They are hoping that they can try and achieve the feat that, they grabbed from President Buhari of Nigeria from the hands of President Trump, from the Trump administration in the United States of America. That is what they are hoping. That's what they feel that they can achieve by carrying out such a masquerade. And then thirdly, they plan to mislead the world into thinking that the United States of America is interfering in the internal affairs of their country. And at this point, let me repeat what I've always said and make it absolutely clear. La République du Cameroon has no sovereign right over the territory of the Southern Cameroons. La République du Cameroon achieved their independence on the 1st of January, 1984. And they only got into an arrangement for a new federated state to clear agreements with the people of the Southern Cameroons on the 1st of September, 1961, which culminated into a kind of joining, that's independence by joining, on the 1st of October 1961. And remember that resolution 1541 of the UN General Assembly 1961 makes clear that we, the people of the Southern Cameroons, are free to get out of this kind of union, which never even ended up with a union treaty, anytime we feel that we are no longer satisfied or that our aspirations are no longer being met in that union. So that is why Mr. Philemon Yang is struggling and trying to gather the wives of other chief slaves and other women of Southern Cameroon's origin who are loitering around Yaoundé and Douala, that they can easily give a few CFA francs to. Some of them fall in the category of the sardinas, like my friends over or across the Mongo call. So they should come out together and join them in carrying out this dirty job. And now, the third lap of the plan has to do with the Cardinal Tumi-led Anglophone General Conference. You know, when a few days ago, people saw a document circulating on social media signed by Christian Cardinal Tumi, being a declaration to the divisional officer of Bamenda 2 on plans by the AGC to hold the AGC at the Mancon Cathedral Hall, Mr. Eli Smith told Comrade Mark Barra that that thing that was circulating is not legit, that the document was not legit, and that it is fake, and that there are no plans to hold any meeting in Bamenda on the 10th, I think, if my guess is not right, yes, on the 11th and 12th of July 2019. He claimed that that meeting that is being declared or that they are talking about is just a meeting of the steering committee of the AGC that would like to sit and then have some, private discussions. This question arises in my mind. Does Christian Cardinal Tumi have to declare to the divisional officer of Bamenda 2 that he, Christian Cardinal Tumi, and other religious leaders want to sit within the premises of the Catholic mission to hold a private talk? My dear people, we have been fooled a number of times. We will never allow ourselves to be fooled many, many times over. I have found out at the divisional office, Bamenda 2, and it has been confirmed that the declaration that was dropped there by Christian Cardinal Tumi is actually meant for the holding of the Anglophone General Conference in Bamenda on the 11th and 12th of July. This is at the behest of genocide enabler-in-chief Dion Gute after his passage in Bamenda. They have come to terms with the fact that the pressure piling from across the world for peace talks to be held will not leave them at peace if they don't put in place a kind of masquerade. Consequent on that, Mr. Dion Gute, who was preceded by the French ambassador to Yaoundé, we all recall that the French ambassador granted audience to Christian Cardinal Tumi, that they have to organize a masquerade of an AGC and select people who will be favorable to the French position and interest and to the positions and interests of La République du Cameroun, so that these people will have to sit on the table during peace talks as representing the people of the Southern Cameroons, so that they can come there not in the interest of the people of the Southern Cameroons, but in the interest of the colonizer, but in the interest of La République du Cameroun first, and then remotely in the interest of the French government. My dear people, I'd like us to understand this very clearly, that the French government is secretly pushing for the AGC to select infiltrators who will protect their interests within our ranks at the negotiating table. Let this be very clear to each and every one of us. So I want to ask this question. Is Christian Cardinal Tumi not too old and so close to the Bible that preaches that there can be no peace without justice, to get himself or to allow himself to be carried into this kind of evil games? What does Christian Cardinal Tumi seek to achieve in all this? Is that what he wants to leave? Is that the legacy he's preparing for the people of the Southern Cameroons as he gets closer to the grave? Christian Cardinal Tumi, you need to give yourself a rethink. We have respected you. We continue to respect you. And we wish to continue to respect you. But, Your Eminence, stand clear of this matter. Stand clear of this matter. If you have decided to dine with the oppressor, do so in silence as an individual. Do not allow yourself to be the channel through which evil will be brought onto your people. Remember that in the Bible, Jesus Christ says that Pontius Pilate and all those who were passing judgment on his execution committed a lesser crime than Judas Iscariot, who betrayed him to them. Christian Cardinal Tumi, think twice. And all of you, religious leaders who are accepting to get involved in these dirty games, posterity will never be kind towards you. You want to push us to say bad words, to say strong words, to say hateful words, so that tomorrow, when something happens to you, you say, we push people to do these things to you. No. The people of the Southern Cameroons are very smart and intelligent. We're peace-loving people. Nobody would dirty themselves by trying to throw either insults, invectives, or by trying to even touch you physically. But I want to implore you to understand that posterity will not be kind towards you. Because I want to ask this question. Tumi-AGC, they say they will forward their resolutions to Mr. Paul Biya. Mr. or Christian Cardinal Tumi, you have read history. You lived at the time of the reunification. And you are aware that Southern Cameroons is not part of the territory of La République du Cameroun. Why do you want to take resolutions of a meeting held by the people or by the sovereign people of the Southern Cameroons to a colonizer? Why? I think that you, the conveners of your AGC, if you want to hold a private meeting, you do not need any declaration to any divisional officer to carry out such a thing. This is just a dubious attempt to continue to spew lies out there and give the impression that something is being done to the international community. Tell the international community and fool them that something is being done about this situation and ask them to try and stay calm and allow Mr. Paul Biya to continue to kill our people, to continue to try and set our people against one against the other to kill themselves, like we saw in Womb, like we know they are preparing to do in Momo, like we know Mr. Abeti Peter has been trying to do in Mezam, like we know that Wangala Gerard and the others are trying to do in Donga Mantung. This will not work. And I want to sincerely, honestly, particularly express gratitude to Comrade Abdul. Yes, I don't know why. To Comrade Abdul Karim. To Comrade Abdul Karim for the marvelous job he did in a Facebook Live, sensitizing the Fulani people not to fall into such an evil trap. My dear people, Southern Cameroons is real. Freedom is near. We just need to hang in. Hang on again. Just a little. Because I can hear the sound of celebrations in the horizon. To God be the glory.